introductions anyway, so people won't miss out on content. So good morning, everyone. Welcome back again to the BIC Africa Acceleration Program for Women Entrepreneurs. We are excited to have you here with us. I'm trying to find my slides so I can move them. Okay, so welcome back. So today you have me again, Danielle. I'm your facilitator and coach throughout the entire program. And today we're also joined again by Agnes, who you are all well familiar with because she ran our first training session 2 weeks ago. So before I hand over to Agnes, we're going to talk a little bit about what today's content looks like. And before, so let's talk about that. So today we're in training session number 2. We'll be talking about the what. So what is your business? We'll be talking about your unique value proposition. So what makes you different from others that are doing similar sorts of business to you? Because let's be honest, all of our businesses are very similar to somebody else's business. It's very rare that you have something that's so incredibly unique that someone isn't already doing it. But it's about what makes you different from your competition, what makes you stand out against all of the other players that are doing similar sorts of businesses to yours. And that's what we're going to be helping you to uncover today. And it's known as your unique value proposition. And then from that, we'll move into a bit more about product development. So how do you take that unique that unique value proposition and work on your product or your service further to continue to differentiate yourself, to make you attractive to your customers, to make you stand out against others, and to help people to ultimately choose you as opposed to anyone else that's out there. So Agnes has a lot of content for us to cover on this topic today. Again, like always, it's going to be interactive. She'll be posing questions to you throughout the session. Feel free to jump into the chat to share those with us. Anytime that she poses a question in English, we'll also get her to do so in French, which is the benefit of having a bilingual trainer, which I think most of our trainers this year are. I'm probably the exception. My French is very, very, very poor. So before I hand over to Agnes, I would love to just ask you ladies a question. How do you want to show up today? So have a look at the different words that are here on the screen and choose one word to represent how you want to show up. So we have courageous, open, curious, compassionate, selfless, optimistic, grateful, practical, relational, friendly, connecting, future-focused, interested, responsive, and candid. Which one best represents where you are at today? Let us know in the chat. Narendra says curious. Ola Tiana says future-focused. Daisy says open. Oh, it's going so fast. Mugadza says optimistic. Grace says grateful. Great. Keep them coming. Hopeful. Grateful. Courageous. I like it. Compassionate. Good. So hold this intention with you as we go through today's content. Some of it might be new for you. Some of it might be something that you've seen before. But as we said in the past, just keep an open mind, come with that curiosity, come with that gratefulness of being here and having this time to work on your business and indeed also on yourself as an entrepreneur. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Agnes. She's going to now take the lead and take you through today's content. Agnes, over to you, my dear.
Thank you so much. Just give me a tiny second to change my content. And I think we're good to go. Sorry in advance because I have 2 computers in front of me, so it's a cognitive sort of dissociation. So if you see me like moving my hands, bear with me, ladies, and be compassionate to me. Well, on your list of words, Danielle, I would choose for myself today relational. So I hope I will manage to create a relation with each of you. To support your progress in your entrepreneurial journey. And I'm really happy to see that some people are hopeful. Well, hopefully I'll deliver an interesting content to you. So today we have two topics which are obviously interrelated as always. So the unique value proposition, we will cover it first. And then we will move to product development and early stage market strategy. So let's jump right now in the contents. So this, just as last time, I like setting the intentions and setting the objectives before starting a training. So these are the questions that I aim to help you answer by the end of the session. So the first question is my product or service really needed? Is it solving a problem? And is it a critical problem? The second question will be, who is the target customer? Does she actually need my solution? Third question is my solution unique? How does it compare to available alternatives? And can it be easily copied? Fourth questions, are there any barriers to entry? And if so, what are they? And how do I optimize my competitive advantage? Last question, how do I set my product or service to successfully reach its market? So this is the plan for today. And without any expected outcomes. So by the end of the session, I want you to have a draft of your UVP, unique value proposition. Another word used for UVP is USP, which means unique selling proposition. It's the same. So we will use UVP here. So again, the idea is that you have the critical problem that you're solving. You know who your target audience is, and you know how to compare your solution to competitors' ones. And then I also want you to have the outline of your development and launch plan for your service of product. So obviously, I understand that most of you already have your service or products on offer to people already, but still, there are always things that we can improve and better. And so the idea is, even for ladies who already have their solution on the market, to help maybe go to the next stage. So we will start with a unique value proposition. What does it mean? It means setting yourself and your solution apart. Alors, who has heard about USP or UVP before? You can answer in the chat, and I'm reading the chat at the same time as my slides, so you can go ahead. If you have heard about UVP or USP before, please let us know. And let us know what it means to you. So either none of you knows what it is, which is great for me, or you all know what it is, which is, and you don't want to share. I don't know. Anyways, let's start anyhow. But if you know what it is, if you understand what it is, if you think you have yours, please let us know in the chat. So what is a UVP, a unique value proposition? It is the value that you are generating for your customer. And it is what makes your product or service unique compared to anything else already available on the market. Here on the slide, the word that are highlighted in green, obviously it's intentional, because this is what I want you to really focus on. So there's a question of value. What you are offering to your customer has to bring value to them. And then you have to think about your customer as someone specific. It's your customer. You really have to differentiate, to personalize your customer. And then, as much as possible, what you're offering to people has to be unique. So we will try to think about what unique means. As Daniel said, it doesn't mean that you're bringing the next technological invention or innovation on the market. Obviously not. Not everybody can do that. But still, there are elements that can set your solution and service apart, and you have to uncover those elements because this is going to be what you are going to communicate upon. So I'm just reading a little bit the chats. So knowledge limited, which is great because hopefully by the end of the session, Gabizo, you will have a better understanding of what it means and why it is important for you to really work and fix those elements. Exactly, Narinj, you're right. This is what makes you unique in the market, the value that you are selling or generating to the customer. Okay, so again, your UVP is what makes you different and what makes you right. So what a UVP is not. So a UVP is not a slogan, a catchphrase, a motto, a vision, a mission. This is not that. It is not a description of your product either. It is not a call for action to get customers to buy your product. So it's not a communication tool. And again, it's not your vision, mission, value. So it's different from that. So last time when we interacted together, we tried to uncover what was in your heart and why you had decided to get into business. Now we're really focusing on the what, on practically what you're bringing to people and how you're going to make sure that it is what they want. And it's not your business model. This I'm leaving to other ladies who will talk numbers. So it's much more again than all of that is what defines and distinguishes yourself. And Bulatin says, talk about the benefit of my offer, how it solves my customers' needs and what distinguishes me from the competition. So it's interesting. Bulatin is talking about distinguishing, and I use the same word at the same time on the slide. So it means that this is a word you need to really stick with you. Distinguishing might be the word of the day. So Nina is already. So thank you for jumping into the content. We'll use that, and then we'll see, Nina, if by the end of the session you still have the same idea of your UVP, or you think that it has changed or evolved a little bit. So what you're sharing with us today is that your UVP is that your company stands on the rural areas. We want to be near our customers because by sitting in a rural area, we develop first access to higher training, but also we allow our students to begin activities around agribusiness. Okay. So maybe by the end of the session, you'll rephrase all of that. Please use that and then use the plan of the session. And by the end of the session, let's see if that has evolved a little bit. So again, your UVP is all about understanding your customer and knowing your competition. So you need to understand your customer to adapt. This is the little person on the slide, to adapt your solution and product. This is the little gift. And to know your competition. This is the little fish. Hopefully to kill competition. So what does it mean? If you focus on your customer, you need to bring value to them. The best value you can bring to people is to help solve a problem. So when your business is really going to be successful is when you manage to identify a problem, a critical problem. So it is really a pain point. What we call a pain point is not just like, some problem you have, or I want my walls green, but they're white, well, this is not going to change my life. A critical problem would be, okay, my walls are not painted, so it brings humidity to me. It's ugly. I need those walls painted. There, you're going to solve a critical problem. So hopefully you also bring other gains to people. But I don't know if you remember when we were kids, we were taught how to differentiate between needs and wants. So I remember being taught that I need to eat, I need to eat vegetables, and the wants were like, okay, I want candies, and sometimes I can have candies. Please think the same way. So what you're going to want to focus on is to solve a need element. So you want to propose something that your customer needs. And if you solve some wants on the side, great. But this should be secondary. You really need to try and find something that the customer needs. Oops. So for that, you need to know and understand your customer. We'll get back to that. And you also need to target the right customer. We'll get back to that as well in the second part of the training. What does that entail? UVP, the second element. So the first element is your client, which means it's the problem. So you need to understand perfectly your client, your customer, and to have identified your customer. The second element is the solution. So it's the gift you're going to bring to your client. So you have, ideally, to have developed a product or service that solves the problem you have identified and may provide additional gains, like I said. But also it has to be an adequate, simple, and accessible solution. So as you design your service offering, you need to make sure that it's practically available to your customer and they can use it in a simple way. If I get back to painting the walls, if someone comes and offers me a pot of paint that I need to mix, and then I need to go and buy the tools, and then I need to buy a ladder to paint the walls myself, well, maybe it's not the best solution. If someone provides like a pot already usable, and then I also have the brush and I have everything I need to do it myself, and I need to put only one layer, great, that's a great product for me today. So let me just go back for 1 second to the chat. So we have Neil saying, Haga Pasteurized Factory, UVP, organic, effective, quality, affordable, in price, and the modality and availability we provide for our esteemed customers. So again, Neil, for me, there are elements here that tie back to the values or to the organic, effective, quality, affordable. So it's more your intentions. We're going to go into details here. So what I'll ask you to do, but we'll work on that together, is to identify your customers, so your esteemed customers. Who are they? Who is your customer? Who are you really thinking about when you're developing your product? And then you say it's organic, fine, okay, fine. You say it's effective, quality, affordable. Okay, how, you'll have to be really specific in that. And then we'll also talk about the competition, but we'll really need to dig into that and to be really specific about how your product is really effective. And then we have Mrumun saying, my UVP is the formulation of shea butter-based treatment for both humans and animals, which is geared towards holistic treatment, especially in shared infections between humans and animals. So I'm not just selling shea butter, that inclusive as well. You're welcome, Neil. Okay, so again, I understand that your customer is both human and animals. Okay, then we'll have to again be more specific about that. So humans, who are they? Do they live You know, is the treatment for like rural areas or urban areas? The animals, is it a dog or a cat, or is it a cow or a pig? So you will have to really dig into that. And then, you know, obviously your animals cannot be your customers. Would be nice, but they can. So your customer will be the owner of animals. So why are you solving a problem? Which problem are you solving? Again, we'll get back to that. So you'll have to work your product and service offer in line with needs. Again, with needs, with problem, with needs, and to choose your market, and then to analyze how your product is effectively offering a solution to those people. Last element, so we have, again, the client for a customer first client. Second, you have your solution. How is it practically solving the problem? Is it truly solving the problem? Is it an available, you know, solution? And then we have the last element of the trade, which is the competition, your competition. So ideally, your solution has to be a better solution compared to other products or services already available on the market. This is called the competitive advantage. So how is your product better than the others available on the market? And then second element, ideally, your product is hard to replicate. This is what we call barriers to entry. This is a little more difficult to achieve. But for example, if you are on a regulated market, and if you manage to get the authorizations and to comply with the laws, then this is a barrier to entry. What does it mean? It means that obviously competitors can try and do it, but it will take time and effort for them to do it. And so it gives you some time to reach your market already. And, you know, it's you know, usually first movers have an advantage on their markets. So again, you have to master who your competition is and to really practically understand the operating conditions. Let's take an example. So I decided to use Jumia as an example of what I just tried to explain. If you have questions, if you need more precisions, please type in your questions, your comments, or your anything on the chat box. We're reading it as we go. So if you want to ask questions or you don't understand something, please go and you know, type it down. But to go back to an example, sometimes it helps, and for me it helps. So I decided to focus on Jumia. Jumia launched in 2012 as an e-commerce platform, internet platform, focused on the African market. I'm sure you all know Jumia. What is the pain point? You remember I used the word pain point. Pain. What is the problem? What is the pain point? Why did they decide to start business? The pain point they identified was the difficulty for African customers to have access to regional or worldwide products. So we had Amazon in Europe, in the US, but in Africa, it was really difficult to order things from Amazon, or, you know, in some countries, completely impossible. And so effectively, you know, worldwide access to products was not available for most African people. And then what Amazon also, you know, whether you're pro or against Amazon, it's the same, you know, what it allowed is for people to also propose their own products to other potential customers they didn't have access to before. So it unlocked access for regional people to a new market. What I mean is by Amazon, some Italian people could sell to French people, which was not available before. Well, that was close to African countries as well. So if you had a product developed in the Ivory Coast and you wanted to make it available to people in Ghana, well, that was extremely difficult. The second element was that, exactly what I said. So African entrepreneurs, you didn't have an access to a large base of customers. So they identified two pain points, first for the African customers, and second for the African entrepreneurs. So what was the solution they decided to design? They decided that it would be a great idea to create fluidity in the commercial structures in Africa and to foster relationships between entrepreneurs and customers. So I'm just reading what ideal UVP and target market. So hopefully I'll answer this kind of elements. So they said, okay, there is a real problem in the way the commercial market is structured in Africa. Let's try to solve it through the internet. Who is the target customer? It's a middle class urban dwellers in their late 20s and mid 30s and mid to mid 40s living in the African capital city. So I think this is who they had in mind at the beginning. What was the product? The product was simply a marketplace inclusive of logistical and payment services. So end-to-end marketplace e-commerce platform. And who was the competition back then? Well, in Africa, not so much. Again, I said Amazon was not available in Africa or in very few countries back then. So they had an open market in front of them. And then there were barriers to entry. The development costs, developing an e-commerce platform, is very expensive. Obviously, there were regulations issues as well. And then they managed very early on to establish partnerships with existing retailers and large-scale retailers, which provided them with some sort of exclusivity or easy entry in some countries. And so today, through this work that Jumia did, what does it mean? It means that for new business to try and enter this e-commerce platform market, it would be extremely difficult. And so what would these players have to do? They would have to focus on different aspects to differentiate themselves from Jumia, maybe offering like a really specialized, sector-focused platform or anything else. But, having this kind of African Amazon image, that's it. Jumia did it. It's close for other people. So I hope that example helped you a little bit, because now it's going to be your time to work. And so I'll ask you first to use what we've said before to focus on your customer, your client. And so I would love you to answer the following two questions. Who is your target customer? And more, so I want you to be specific. Who is your target customer? Saying it's I don't know, it's someone in a rural area, that is not enough. Is it someone who does agro? What age? What sort of social background? This is your target customer. So something specific. And then what is their problem? What is the pain point you're trying to solve? Okay, I want you to be more specific, Hanan. So is it urban? Is it rural? Where? What age? Elderly? What does it mean? So we need to really be specific there. So you have a couple minutes to answer those elements: target customer and pain point. And then please type them down, or some of you can type it down in the chat box. Okay, I really love your target customer, Joanna. I think it's good. I think it's good. It's very specific. Okay, so you're, very specific. Good. Now I want you to work Wani, on your pain point. So there is a little bit of that there. But please go, customer pain point. Okay, Grace. Grace, is it same question? Is it in rural or urban areas? Okay, Hanan, good. I think this is more specific. And so your pain point, I understand, would be literally the pains, monthly pains, right? Okay, thank you, Grace. So Grace, you need now to work on the pain point. So you have your target customer, but you need to phrase the pain point, the problem that you're solving. So neo farmers having low incomes that produce cereals, resident rural. Perfect. Target customer, clear. Okay, perfect. Moon, that is that's nice. That is very that is much more precise than what you said before. And so now, thanks to your target customer, I understand that you're B2B, so business to business product. So basically, your target customer is not me, the end customer, but it will be someone, it will be a company that sells to me, which means B2B. And so through that, it's very clear now that you're a B2B company. Narin said young entrepreneurs operating in blue and green economy in Mada, great. And so the pain point during the launching phase, young entrepreneurs do not have access to prototyping platform and do not have enough financial resources and infrastructure to develop their MVP. Okay, so your pain point, the pain point would be actually financial, the incapacity to so is it that, question for you, Narinj, is it that they don't have enough money to support the early stage of their business? So literally, designing their business model, designing the UVP, all that you're going to do with us, basically. So is it that they don't have enough money for that? Or they don't have enough money to launch the business, which is very different. And so, so there's this element that you can also add to your description. So are you offering, this design, but also the connection to a potential people who will support the business? And so in which case you need to rephrase your pain point as either a lack of definition of the business or a lack of access to capital markets for the business. So I continue just a little bit. So Nadia says individuals who don't have time to clean their house, and companies who want to concentrate on their activities and need help to clean their offices. Okay, so I think what you also sort of the understatement here would be, or undertold element would be that probably you're going to focus on individuals or families, maybe families who actually have money as well. So it will be middle class or upper class families who don't have time to clean their house. Because I assume, people who don't have much money would not go and buy your service themselves. So, it can be more specific. Ruth said people looking for natural and minimalist skincare product, concerned about the chemical ingredients traditional product. Okay, so the main concern, I understand, you're right, find effective maybe a safe and environmental friendly solution. So the pain point that you're solving is not maybe the risk to affect their own skin and the environment by using just any product on the market. So you're offering a solution to that. Okay, my product is safe and this is the proof. And so, you can come to me. But your target customer is not precise enough to me. You need to really think about who you're thinking about when you are when you decide to launch your business. So is it a woman, what age, maybe a man, actually, this kind of elements. Okay, let me move to the next slide. So what you worked upon, again, as always, keep it, and it will be a reference for you in your pitch deck. So again, please type customer ... and your definition, and then pain point ... same description. Second aspect of the UVP, your product. So I want you now to focus on your solution. How is it solving the critical problem? And an element I didn't put on the slide, but I want you to also think about is, why is it effective and practical? Why and how do you think your product is effective and practical? So please, again, work on that a little bit. In the meantime, Solange, I think your customer profile and problem is very well laid out. Nina, young people with bachelor degree who have determination to stay in rural areas and develop agribusiness. Great. Perfect. This is great. Very good, Mugadza. Perfect, Adeze. Both on the customer and pain point. Okay, so Gabizo, service energy and waste management. So Gabizo, for me, maybe the problem. Okay, the problem could be phrased a little bit differently. It's fine what you're writing, but you could maybe enhance the pain point by turning it into an obligation. That the problem might be, but I don't know if it's true, so you can adapt, but the obligation today for the private sector to reach certain environmental targets. So that's a pain because they don't know how to do it, in which case you're offering your service to actually help them reach those targets. Gianni Hotels in Comoros, targets. So okay. The problem is not a problem, Jihane. They want to buy available natural soaps for their customers. It is not a pain point. The pain, I mean, it will be difficult to find a pain point because, soap is more one than a pain. But the pain point could be phrased as, the difficulty to actually offer local products, alternatives to their own customers, in which case you're solving their problem through offering that to them. Okay, so on the product side, okay, so now most of you still discuss the customers and solution. Okay, now I really want you to work on the product, please. Okay, Moon, what I mean is that you said that you're offering your, so if I take the example of Jihane, who is selling to hotels, so she's selling soaps to hotels. Her activity is also B2B. Why? Because she's selling to other economic, to other business, basically. So a hotel is a business. So a hotel will put the product that she delivered at the service of their own customers. But Jihane, she sells to business. What I understand from what you said or what you wrote before is that you also selling to companies who themselves sell to people in rural areas. If I misunderstood, please write it down. But this is what I understood, and this is what I mean by B2B. B2B, literally B2B, meaning business to business. So on the product side, for now, we don't have what we need. So the solving the critical problem. For instance, if I take Hanan's product, okay, Hanan is, from what I understand, putting on the market diapers and elements for monthly for menstruations. Okay, this is quite this is the description of the product. So it is solving a critical problem. What other elements, or how is it available? Is it easy to use? What makes it different from other elements available on the market? What's like practically specific about your product? So Johanna, on one, if I take your description as a as an element for to all of us. So you say, okay, my customer go for our products mainly because we save time and resources. Time because we mix our we have our own mix of spices. They take less time cooking. So now you're offering a spices mix, from what I understand. What is specific about your product? Is it easy to use? Is it like, do you make it effectively available? So do people know what the taste will be like when they use your product? Do they know? I mean, is it like a powder in a plastic bag, in a paper bag, in a glass container? Those kind of elements. So how is it practically easy for people to use it? Where will they find your product? So interestingly, Hanan, what you are putting there, we are certified by AA Assessment Authority, and it can be used for 18 months. This is what we're going to see afterwards. So this is an element that helps you stand apart from competition, but it is not what is describing your product. Again, I get back to my example about the painting the walls in my house. What I ask you to try and do is to describe your product. So I will offer my customer, who is a middle-aged lady who has no clue how to paint, I will offer, but wants to do it herself because she doesn't have the means to hire someone to do it in her house. So I will put on the market for her. We hear some elements, but sorry. So I will put on the market for her a pot of paint with a brush that she can easily open, use, paint, one layer, and the product will be available in everyday store next to corner. So this is what I'm asking you to do here, to describe why practically your solution helps practically your customer, and why you think it's a good product because it is where it is packaged the way it is, etc. So bulletin, why? What you all try to do, I mean, what you're all delivering is, you know, it's the intentions, it's what you're aiming to achieve. But again, what I ask you to do is to be very down, you know, like very basic and describing your product. So we'll move to the next element, but please, you know, as you try to put your answers in the pitch deck, please try to be as down to earth as possible. So, you know, think about your customer, your product, and how your product is serving this customer practically. So the last element is the competition. If you go in the chat, Hanan gave you know, an example of what you will need to try to do. So the competition, what I want you to try and think about, we'll give it another 3-4 minutes, is to help answer the following questions. So do your customers have access to other available solutions? So who is there a competition on the market? If there is a competition, who is the competition? And you really need to go into details, name of brands, name of people, I mean, not a name of companies, you know, what is each company or each competitor offering? So second, as you focus on your solution, why, you know, what makes you different from the rest of available solutions on the market? So what makes your product, your solution unique? This is what is going to be your competitive advantage. And it's critical you identify what makes you different, better than competition. And then it's answering question 2 and 3. So is your solution difficult to copy? And are there any entries, any barriers to entry? But really most important now is your competition. So I don't expect you to write your your competitors on the chat box, obviously. So keep it for yourself. But you really need to lay it down. So write down the competitors. And then what makes your solution distinctive and practically again. So again, if I go back to my pot of paint, I want, okay, XYZ proposed product. What makes my solution different is that I'm offering a range of 25 colors. And then I put the brush, a specific brush, inside the package, which none of them is doing. So this is the idea. So please try to work on that as I'm going to catch back on the chat box. Okay, so Marek says their competition is faster compared to other products available in the area. Okay. Okay, you will have to have proof of what you are sustaining, not for me, obviously, but you know, you will have to find, and this is going maybe to be barriers to entry, but when you state something, it's important that you have the data available to support what you're saying. And this is going to be potentially a way for you to communicate on your product. But Marek, I think you have, so you have in your elements, the elements you're writing down, elements of your competitive advantage. Okay, Solange, okay, you combine expertise in marketing with local market knowledge. Fine. Are there any other people doing it? I'm sure there are. So what makes you different from them? Okay, your goal, extra great, but how is what you're offering different? Are you, doing, I don't know, are you offering 2 days training, which none of them is doing, or are you posing remote solutions? I mean, what makes you different from what already exists on the market? And by the way, maybe nobody's on the market on your market, which would be amazing. But unless you have a really compelling advantage, such as for Jumia, technological advantage with a huge price, I mean, which is a huge cost, huge developing cost, which makes it difficult to mimic, or you have a regulation advantage. Even if there are no competitors on the market yet, it's very likely that someone comes at some point. So those elements of differentiations, you want to have them, whatever the state of the competition. So even if today only your company is offering Portuguese training for companies in Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa, okay, if you make money, I can tell you in 6 months' time, people will come and do the same. So you really need to work out your distinctiveness. Okay, I will not read everything that's on the chat because it's a lot. So I'll finish. Sorry, I'll just read Grace's one because it's the last one. So Grace says, our competition are public schools and other low-cost private schools in the community. What makes us difficult to copy is our use of recyclable payment methods, plastics for fees. We also leverage donations and support, and we offer vocational training to the kids. Okay, so you do have some element of differentiations. Okay, alternative payment methods, alternative financing options, maybe a differentiating aspect, I don't know, but maybe the quality of the curriculum you're offering, or the let's say the variety or scope of curriculum you're offering, and maybe the quality of education that is provided in your school. That could be also elements of differentiation potentially. Okay, so I think you understood the idea. So I'll stop there to have time for the rest. So again, please note your answers down. But again, what we're doing today, so the first sessions we had together, we were a little bit in the clouds, in the sky, kind of dreaming, and this is very important. Now we're back down to earth and very practically thinking about the product or service, again, in a very practical manner. Product, service, client, competition in very descriptive manner. A little bit of help. So you will have, I think, the slides available to you. So I drafted a few things that hopefully will be useful. So you have to think about, on the right-hand side, the customer, on the left-hand side, your product, and try to put them in connection as much as possible. After the training, but we'll go through that again, I'll ask you to go back to your answers, to keep developing your UVP, USP, and to challenge yourself, and to work with your team to define and fix your UVP. Very important. So now, do you have any questions on the first part of the training today? I'll give you a few seconds to maybe put something in the chat box. Meanwhile, I'm reading stuff at the, on top of that, above that. Okay, so Joanna, when I read your description, your customers do have other options, yeah. Okay, so one of your differentiating factor is the fact that 70% of your spices are locally grown and supporting local farmers. That is very important. So that is definitely a differentiating factor. Again, if you use only materials from organic, you can also use it as a competitive advantage. Okay, so no question thus far. I'm just reading what Nadia's put in the chat. Okay, the three first element. Okay, good differentiating elements, Nadia. So since everything was clear or perfectly unclear, and so nobody knows what to ask, we'll move to part 2. And obviously, you can always go back and ask questions in the chat box. So the second element will be about product and service development and how an early stage go-to-market strategy. What I mean by that is, okay, let's imagine you've done this work, it's complete, you have your UVP, so you know who your target customer is, you know perfectly why your solution is the perfect solution for them. But it's all on paper so far. Now, you will need to really actually make it happen. So what is your goal now? Is to make sure that your product, as I said, you know your product, you know what solution you're bringing to people, you know your target customer, you kind of know who your competition is. What you want is to please your customer, to make sure that you are fulfilling their needs and wants. Sorry. So how will you achieve this? You need to design the right product for them, which means the product that they really need and want. So it means you have to deliver on your promises, meaning that you have to understand your customer, meaning that you have to listen to your customer, meaning that you have to meet your customer. So you know by now who you're going to offer your product to, but do you really know them? Is it mostly in your brain, or did you actually go out, ask questions to real people to really make sure that the idea you have about their problems is actually their real problem? For that, an option we advise you to adopt what we call a customer-centric approach. So what does it mean? I mean, it's all in the title. So basically, each stage of your development, you're going to think about your customer. So you're going to think about your customer as you understand the context. Sorry. Pardon. So, for instance, if I go back to people in the rural areas, understanding the context might be thinking about how accessible are the village, how do people actually live. If you're going to propose a product for animals, you know, where do they park the animals, what happens to them at night, during the day, etc., etc. So really understanding the context. Then you will need to think about your customer as you think about the specifications, the requirements that your product is proposing to solve. So if I go back to Nadia's answer, the customer requirements. So according to her, one of the client's requirement is that a 24/7 service is offered. So requirement from the customer will be that she cleans, I mean, the company cleans the offices at night when nobody is in the premises. So that is a requirement. Then you will have to create solutions around that. So how do you practically set up a team that is going to work at night? And then if you want to offer a seven days service, you will have to think about, okay, one person or two person in my team won't be enough. So maybe I will have to have two or three people in a team to make sure that, you know, there is rotation and someone is present every day. So this is about creating the design solutions. And then you will have to evaluate the design. How do you do that? All the way, you go back and you ask your customer. So you will need to focus on user needs and use it as an iterative process. What we mean by that, it's never finished. You always go back to the beginning. You always enhance your product. That's why I said at the beginning of the session, even if your product or service is already available on the market, always go back to your customer, ask what they think, and, you know, redesign or improve your solution according to their feedback. So Nadia said we always improve our services after each feedback from our customers. This is exactly that. So the idea to make sure that you're going to solve the problem of your customer is to ask them, am I solving your problem? Is my solution really effective? How could it be better? If you have this or this, which one will you prefer? If I propose my spices mix in a jar, in a glass jar, or in a paper bag, which one do you prefer? Paper bag, why? What do you need? Do you need do you want to use your scissors to open the bag, or do you want like a resealable bags? As practical as that. Hopefully that will open the world to you. So how do you implement a customer-centric approach? You meet your customer. So you go to the point of sale, you ask them, you organize focus groups, group of women using monthly sanitary products, and you ask them. If you're a B2B company, obviously you're not going to organize a focus group, but you can go and perform interviews. You go to your potential clients and you ask them, what do you want? What do you need? What is frustrating for you today with what exists on the market? You will also have to assess competition and to conduct a SWOT analysis. We'll come back to the tools at the end of the session. That will help you, in your analysis. Then this is really for products. So the customer-centric approach is really for product development and product enhancement. So again, don't consider that you have a product or solution on the market and that's it. You always need to think of your product and solution as something that needs to evolve, to adapt, and to be improved. Just looking a little bit in the chat box. Okay, which is still on the competition. Great. So again, yeah, your product is something that is on perpetual enhancement, right? Then you will need at the later, at the later end of what we're discussing today, of how you go meet your customer. This is what we call go-to-market strategy. So literally, thanks to talking to your customer, you have the right product or solution or service. Then how do you actually push it to your customer? So we'll briefly go through that. Again, I included some tools at the end of the slide, so you can use it. And so the go-to-market strategy will literally be who, what, why, and where. So the four elements on the right-hand side. This is really answering those elements. So the who we discussed today, the what we discussed today, the why. This is the solution, the pain point. And the where, so this is the where. This is the UVP and the where. The where is the go-to-market strategy. So the tools that we will make available for you is tools that will help you assess your target market, the competition, your growth potential, and a little bit the profitability potential. This is what we really need to think about. And and again, so we'll help you assess competition, SWOT analysis, think about risk, and think about market selection. So again, we will work a little bit together. So instead of using an example, because it's a little bit difficult to use an example here, I decided to work on a case. So we will work on the case of Alicia, who lives in a small town in Central Africa. Her grandmother used to give her natural medicinal products that eased monthly pains. These products were manufactured from local plants. They were not official medicine. So basically, her grandmother used some elements and managed to make some mix, and it really helped. Alicia thinks that the same mix that her grandmother used for her would be a great help for other women. How should she go to decide and design these products? So let's imagine that Alicia already thought about the target customer, who will be a woman between 15 and 45 in her small town. That she wants to offer some kind of mix of medicinal products, something that would be, drunk. And that for now, there isn't really competition except for paracetamol and, kind of normal drugs, but that are not specific to monthly pains. So let's consider that she has the UVP sorted, and what she really needs to do is to say, okay, I know that mixing this sort of plant and plant B and plant C and plant Z helps with monthly pain. What next? So what next, ladies? What next? What do you think she should be doing? Please put it in the chat box. Should Alicia go in the forest, cut the plants herself, decide to try and grind them, and propose that to people? How do you think she will? Yes, I can show you the previous slide. So again, the idea is that you have those elements you're seeing on the picture. You have that. You know that it's going to help if you're giving that to your fellow woman in your village. What next? What are the options? Okay, let me help. Let's decide study of interviews for knowing her customer. Great. What sort of questions will she ask in interviews? So let's decide according to you in this case, is it better to organize a focus group? Is it better to organize interviews? Is it better to go to a point of sales? So maybe pharmacies or drugstores. Is it better to go in the forest? What's better? What's more relevant? She needs to make a small mix and try it with a few women who she has identified, maybe through a focus group, to see if it works for them, to be sure it would work for them. She should put words out in communal gathering how that product worked out for her and how link and grandmother with community health officers to create more awareness and work on the dosage. So Hanan, I think, you know, yes, why not? But I would agree with Ada Izzy that the first element is to actually meet the potential customer. So what she will want to think about first, what she may want to think about first, and there is no, again, there is never one way only. Everybody's kind of right. You know, there's not an ideal way of doing things, but one potential way of doing it would be for her to say, okay, I know that for me it works. So what I want to try to do is to make sure that it's working for other people and decide which sort of packaging or which sort of product would be the most practical for people. So the first idea would be to ask the grandmother what the mix was and to have it tried by people close to her. She don't want to get other people sick, so she needs to work with people close to her. Once she's sure that the mix is working, it's not harming anyone, it's actually an effective product, then she may want to say, okay, I can offer it as a pill, I can offer it as a mix for to put in food, or as something that people drink. And then she want to ask people, okay, maybe organize a focus group. Ladies, if I were to offer this product, which is working against monthly pains, what do you think is better for you? Is it putting it in your food? Is it not? And then she will have clues about maybe the fact that people are like, yeah, but if you put it in food, then you're also giving it to men. Is it useful for men? No, so maybe you're wasting it. So maybe a better way is to drink it and have it as a tea bag. This kinds of elements. When she decided that, okay, maybe it's the tea bags that are the most effective for this product, she will go by. So if I go to this slide, okay, understanding the context is talking to people. Assessing customer requirements, you know, okay, so it's the monthly pain, so it's quite easy, but you know, do you prefer in food, in tea bag, blah, blah. Create design solutions. You actually go by, Alicia goes by and designs different tea bags with different tastes. And then she asks people what they think about it. And as she does that, you know, there are elements that she needs to do, assessing competition, conducting SWOT analysis, and deciding which product, but going through this orderly thinking process will help her you know, put the product on the market that is most likely to find the market. So if she doesn't ask people, she's there with her, you know, with those elements. She might be like, okay, you know, designing a powder, and nobody will buy it. If she puts it in a tea bag, maybe she'll actually find a lot of customers because this is what they want, tasting the taste, etc. So Neo, absolutely. And you're talking about MVP. Thank you for that. So MVP means minimal viable product. So it's the you know, the basic product. It's your prototype basically is what is your product 1.0 that you will then enhance and better over time. Nina says doing a small mix, try it with her family, and then try it with groups of people, capitalize the results, etc. Okay, so you all, I think, get the idea. Asking again, you know, understanding why it's needed, asking people what they want, so what type of pains, what, you know, when they, what type of relief they really want, and what is practically usable. Then go by, create elements, and put the MVPs to them, and, you know, improve the solution according to what they say about your product. Second part of the exercise is the go-to-market strategy. So, okay, it's great. Alicia has decided to develop tea bags. She offers them for sales in her community and, you know, villages around. It's working amazingly. She's starting to manufacture the products. I'm reading a little bit in the box. Okay, so she decided to manufacture the products, but now everybody wants it. So she has demands from other villages and even other districts in the region. How will she decide where to go? So according to you, as she decides to grow her business, what sort of questions may she want to ask herself as she goes in the process? So I'm not sure I understand, Daisy, what you're saying in the context of the example. How would she specify access? So if you want to maybe rephrase a little bit, because I'm not trying to understand your the point. But again, imagine you are having your Alicia, you're meeting success in your area. What you want to expand because people are actually loving your product. So you want to expand. How do you do it? What are the limitations you're facing as you want to expand? So I'm willingly leaving a little bit of silence so you can think about it. So do you think that Alicia will manage to, at the same time, offer the product to village A, village B, village C, village F, village Y, and to expand in all areas that want the product? Imagine she lives in a region with 100 villages. Her solution is available in 10 villages. The rest of the district wants it. Can she serve 90 business tomorrow, 90 villages tomorrow? So good, Marek. She should consider that what other villages earlier experiences since the medicine is traditional. Okay. So that could be a criteria of choice. Okay, if I go back to what I said, if she's serving 10 villages today, and she has an ask from 90 other villages, she will not be able to serve those villages tomorrow or in 6 months' time. It's impossible. She won't have the capacity. You will work with other trainers on business models and expansion, but if she does not, she's going to crash. It's impossible she manages to scale up to serving the rest of the region. So she will have to make a choice about which villages to go next. So let me just read what's in the chat box. That this expansion comes with cost. Absolutely. So she will have to have enough financial resources to make the expansions. She also needs to think of human resources. Exactly. So capacity, we're talking about capacity, financial capacity, human capacity, product capacity, you know, so how many products can the manufacturer really issue? And this will have to be the first element she has in mind. How much money do I have to expand? How many people do I have to expand? Can I find on the market the human resources that will help? So basically, she will have to choose. So the first element, based on those limitations, she will know if she can expand in 3 villages or in 10. So let's assume she knows that in 2025, she'll be able to open to offer the product in 10 more villages. Then, what sort of questions can she ask herself? She can ask herself, okay, where shall I choose those villages? So you can think that maybe so Danielle is saying that is reminding that the session is recorded for people who might have issues with the internet. But okay, so let's go back to the choice of village. One element you're going to consider, she wants to consider maybe, is access to those villages. So is it easy to go to this village? Are they close together? You know, maybe choosing one village here, the other one there, and the last one here is not the most practical way to go. Then, as Marek said, she might consider cultural aspects, you know, and she might consider competitive aspects as well. So she will have that is the go-to-market strategy, you know, the pursuit, the next step to the go-to-market strategy. Again, very practical. Always have to look at your customer, available options, and how to make sure that you're not going to go over your capacity as you expand. Exactly, Marek. So you know there are many elements that she should you know keep in mind as she goes by extension. She should conduct a risk analysis also. Why? You know, maybe there's a road between where she lives now and the manufacturer and those villages, this group of villages, but maybe the road is really narrow and is flooded at you know in rain season time, so maybe that wouldn't be the best place to go. You know, this kind of elements. Compare markets where you know, is the demographic supporting the analysis? Maybe, you know, younger people in some places, maybe people who have more money, less money, etc. in different places. And then again, assess competition and assess conditions. And put a matrix in place so that she can decide how to go by, you know, selling the products. So a little bit of help, again, that will be available. And Daniel will talk about something at the end of the session. So very important for you to listen, but at the same time to not be scared about it. So SWOT analysis, SWOT means weaknesses, and I mean, it's written on the side, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strength and weaknesses is about product. Opportunities and threats is about the market. So you really try to have those kinds of a couple of analysis before deciding where to go. This is what I just explained about choosing a market. And this is about profiling your customer. Risk mitigation strategy. So again, this will be available for you, and maybe you'll have an opportunity for us to support you filling in those tools. My time to ask you if you have questions on the second part, which I know is more is a little more difficult to maybe comprehend, but don't be scared. It's also an iterative process, and you each time you think about your business, you're gaining something. So don't be don't be scared or feel you're not understanding everything. You're always making progress. So I leave you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 2, 1, 0. No questions. Okay, so thank you again for attending the session and being so lively in the chat box. Really appreciate your participation. Hopefully you have gotten elements about your UVP and your product development process. And I leave now the end to Daniel. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Agnes. And again, ladies, thank you for being so interactive in the chat. I know some of you have had internet challenges, so hopefully you can catch up on the recording if you have missed any pieces. Let me just share my screen real quick so I can just show you the last couple of slides. Okay, let me move that bar. All right, perfect. So what comes next? Next week, we are going to have our next training session, which will be on the how. So how do you make your business work? This is really where we're going to be looking at your business model, rethinking your business model. Hopefully there's been some pieces in the past couple of weeks that you've really started to think, oh, okay, maybe I need to change this. So this session will really help you to dig into that. We'll be joined by another trainer. Her name is Christelle Khalil, and she will be running us through that particular piece of content. So some useful links. You guys already have all of these links, but just in case you need them again, all of the slides and recordings are on the Google Drive. If you need to watch anything later, then it's there for you. Or even if you want to go back to a piece of content in the future, it will all be there throughout the life of this program and even after. I think most of you, if not all of you, are now in the WhatsApp group, so continue to use that as a resource. Ask questions, interact with each other, share your wins also. I know all of you are up to amazing things in your businesses and in your communities, so do let us know what those are and how we can support you. And we will see you again next Tuesday for that next session. But before we go, I just want to remind you of one thing that we spoke about during the first networking session, which is the opportunity for mentoring. So selected entrepreneurs will be eligible for 4 hours of expert mentoring from someone within our network from June until the end of July. You'll be matched with a European expert, a European incubation expert who will be able to help you further on all of the different pieces of your business where you're feeling challenges or you need to question things or you just want that extra support. But in order for you to be eligible, there's 3 different pieces. So the first is the number of sessions that you've attended. We've had great attendance so far this year, so I don't see that being a challenge for most of you. The second will be your level of activity during the sessions, and again, you ladies have been super interactive and taking advantage of using the community, using us as your experts. So just keep that up. And then the third piece, which is the piece that is really critical for you to remember, is the motivation letter. So you'll need to put a 1-page motivational statement together on why you would like to engage in the mentor and what in the mentoring and what topics you would like to focus on. Now, this letter of motivation is due 10 days from today, so by next Friday, the 24th of May, and you'll need to send that on to Christina and just CC in Dawit and Robert with that information. So Marek, you're asking what statement should we submit? So it's really just telling us, why is it that you want to engage in a mentoring relationship? What is your motivation behind that? And as I say here, what topics might you like to cover? And that really just helps us to match you with the right person. So if, for example, you want someone who's helping you specifically with finance, we'll make sure that we're trying to, as much as possible, match you with a woman who has expertise in finance. If instead your motivation is to work with someone who has marketing experience, that profile of your expert might look a little bit different. So that's why we're asking also for the topics that you might want to work on during your time with the mentor. Okay, so please remember to submit that. We'll remind you again next Tuesday. I'm sure Kiara and Christina will also put reminders into the WhatsApp group, but I just wanted to put that here just to bring that again to your attention, that that will be due next Friday, okay? So thank you again, everyone, for your participation today. Thank you, Agnes, for your expert content and, you know, taking these ladies through the journey of unique value proposition. We look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time and the same link. Remember, the link is always the same. And we meet every Tuesday at the exact same time from now until the 9th of July. That will never change. So if you miss a reminder, if you miss a notification, just know that we are always here together every Tuesday, same time, same place. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. We will see you all again next week. Take care.